Hello everybody and welcome back to Deb Creates. So if you saw my last video, you will see that I did a review of the Aldi crochet kit, and the kit I chose was the dragon to try. These kits, remarkable prices, £5 ago. There were 4 different creatures that you could make. There was a hedgehog, I think there was a monkey, there was one more, I'm not sure what he was, and the dragon, which is the one I chose. So I did review the kit, but just a quick recap of that. This was your kit, so there's our dragon, and inside we had the wool to make him with, the stuffing to stuff him with, a metal hook in a size 3mm, a metal sewing needle for sewing in your ends. It doesn't have any eyes because the eyes are crocheted, so they're not, we didn't have to have toy eyes or anything, but should you prefer, you can get the toy eyes and put those in, and it would look really good with toy eyes, I would think. But I was still impressed with the crochet eyes. They they came out really well. So let's get into it then. So the first thing to say is that sadly I could not make this project with the wool that they provided. I could not do it. I started it, unravelled it, started it again, and I could not do it. And I'll show you what it's like. But there's the wool that they gave you. So even then, I think that my stitch count is totally uneven. Even using stitch counters, it looks a bit, doesn't look quite right, does it? And this is the body, this is the round bit of the body, and then it would go up from there and it goes up into the thinner point in the neck. And I mean, I'm not used to using thin wool or double knitting wool really to make projects with, because I always go for the chunkies, the chenilles, because I think a soft toy is nicer in that. You know, you want to be able to cuddle it and feel it, and it wants to be nice and soft. So this wool, it's okay. It's not really soft. It's okay. I did look for other people who had had a go at making this, and I found one on YouTube. And the first thing she said was, "I've used a different wool and a different hook." So I'm not the only one. And if you've made this, you know, let me know how you got on if you've made it with the wool provided, because I just really struggled with it. It's quite splitty, it's thin, it's, I don't know, lovely colours. It just isn't nice wool. And I really struggled with it, and it was taking me ages. And there are so many little pieces in this that you'd just be there forever. I mean, he's got like 8 toes that you make for him separately. So let's go on to the pattern. So the pattern is okay. It's not bad. It lacks in some places, so you can follow it. Yes, I've managed to follow the pattern. In some places, it's a little bit lacking in sort of things like when you put the toy together, where to position things. Some things tell you so many rows up, so many rows back, so you know, that sort of thing. And some don't have anything, like the arms. It doesn't tell you where to put the arms on. Things like that. It just says, I don't know if it says look at the picture or something like that, but there's no explanation of where to fix things to your dragon. So that's tricky. Then I just think that there is so much sewing involved in this project that it's really off-putting. I mean, people don't like to sew bits on. You don't mind if it's a couple of ears or something, but this one had at least 8 spikes, and I think I've done more than that on mine, that required making and sewing on separately. As we say, 8 toes that required making. The arms are sewed on, the eyes are sewed on, the little sort of horn things are sewed on, the ears are sewed on. So loads of sewing, very, very off-putting for anybody who's making it. But as I said in my review of the product itself, the pattern can be interpreted by using a thicker wool and a thicker or a bigger hook to make your dragon any way you like. So I have to show you a finished dragon made from this pattern with a little tiny bit of adjustment here and there, and I'll show you him. There he is. There he is. There's his face. There are his spikes down the back and his tail. So I'm actually really pleased with him. I think he's come out really well and he's really funny. He does resemble the dragon from the pack, so he's come out quite well. Oh, hang on. But what I did, I used chenille wool, and actually this was the chenille baby wool from Aldi. So I have used their product to make him with. And it's really nice. It's really nice to work with. It's good stitch definition. The colours are lovely. And so I used that. The orange highlights are actually a different wool. But the rest of it is made, the two blues, that's made from Aldi's baby wool, chenille. So that was, well, it's kind of chenille. So that was really good and worked out really well. Where I changed things up a little bit on this was, instead of sewing bits on, where I could, I put them in and attached them to the body. So if we look at the spikes here, the spikes, I've basically just gone in to the back and worked the spikes through the creature himself, pretty much in one long line. I think I stopped there and started again on the tail. So it can be done. It's quite easy. If you have done crochet before, you would know how to do it. But I'm sure there are going to be tutorials on there. You can see he's huge. He's come out absolutely huge just by changing up that wool and that hook size. This is how big, this was his body before. So he was going to be about 7 centimeters tall or something like that. Not terribly impressive. So this guy has come out much better. The other things I changed were his feet there, you can see. Instead of stitching on 8 toes, I actually used some black to go in and make the shape of the toes, and then just made white little bobble stitches on the ends where you just wrap it like little knots, where you just wrap the wool round and pull it through. And that's his nails there, and I think that it's really impressive. You don't need to sit there making and stitching on 8 toes. It's mind-blowing. It just takes too long. So that was one thing I did. The other thing I did was the wings. The wings on the pattern, as far as I could see, are just little tiny triangles, and they just looked really boring. I didn't get as far as making them off the pattern, but they looked really boring and really small. So I thought, well, I don't really want to make just a couple of triangles that stick up here somewhere. So I just went onto YouTube, looked up a pattern for dragon wings, and made his wings, and just stitched them on. So those did have to be stitched on, and so that's his wings. So those are different than the pattern. Everything else I think is pretty much as the pattern. His little arms, his face. So there you go with the eyes that are stitched in. The nostrils. Again, you made those separately and stitched them on. It just seems so strange to be stitching such a lot on when you probably don't need to. So anyway, let's think about the good points from if you buy one of these kits, if you bought one of these kits and haven't started it yet, or if you've done it, let me know how you got on. Post in the comments, tell me what you thought of it and how you got on with it. Maybe you made the small one and it's perfect, but I just couldn't deal with that thin wool trying to make anything. It really bugged me, and in the end I just gave up. It was taking forever, and that was just a small amount of it, so I gave up. But good points. The stuffing is lovely, lovely quality stuffing, fabulous, had no problems with it, it was lovely. The hook provided and the needle are both metal, which is a really good point. So, okay, I didn't use it on this project, but I've got it if I want to use it on another project, something I'm making in cotton or something like that. And I mean, you could make him in cotton as well, which would make the stitch definition a lot nicer, and he would probably come out pretty well in cotton. So I may try that because I've got the pattern forever now. So it's always there to reference and look back at and try again in a different in a different yarn, and see how it goes like that. So those are good points for it. I mean, it was £5. What kind of do you expect for a fiver? You know, kits are really expensive. Some kits are really, really expensive to make anything decent. So I think for £5 for what I've come out with was well worth it. £5 if you don't have any other wool and you've got to make it with the wool that came in the kit, maybe not so. But it's there, it's all provided if you can do it. I mean, I am not really well rehearsed in crochet. I've been doing it for a little while now, but it was a very slow start, and I only made a few things in the first year really that I was making it. Then I sort of sped up a bit more, and can do things. I can make a project a night now if it's not too big, which is wow, great. So I'm pleased with that. But how long did the dragon take me to make? It's taken a couple of weeks, I expect, and that's only doing it in the evenings for a couple of hours because I don't have a lot of time. So so I do what I can in a couple of hours, and so yeah, it probably took a couple of weeks. I would have brought it to you sooner, but I was away, so I couldn't start it straight away, and had to start it when I got back from my holidays, and so so yeah, it took me a couple of weeks to finish him and put him all together. So what would I say? If I was going to mark it out of 10, I'd probably give it 5 or 6 out of 10, because it is all there. There's no doubt in that. You do need a different wool, in my way of thinking, and a nicer wool to make yourself a decent sized, nice creature. But it was reasonable quality. The pattern is usable. There are a couple of bits where you think, and obviously if you can do it without all the sewing, then I'd go for that. But it's yeah, it's a good, you can follow it, and it's fine. So so there you are. You've got a pattern that you can keep for forever. You've got all the things you need to make it. So yeah, a good 5 or 6, I would say. If they'd have just put their own chenille type wool in there instead of the double knitting really thin stuff, then it would have been a massive hit, and you would have paid a bit more for it. You wouldn't have minded to pay a bit more for it. But that Aldi wool was basically, I think, £1.29, 100 gram wool. It was so inexpensive. So it hasn't cost me a lot to make that dragon with it, and it wouldn't cost them a lot to have put that in to the kit. And if they did that, I think it would be definitely, you know, a 9 out of 10, because, you know, I'm really pleased with him and he's really come out well, and that's the first dragon I've made. So so yeah, so he's come out really well. So anyway, that's my view on it. Let me know if you've made one of the kits at all, if you've had a go, what your results are, if you've made a better job than I did with the thin wool, which wouldn't be difficult. Yeah, let me know what you think. So so that's it for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.